it's been a day. It's been a long one, but I thought I would just start a video and chit chat about how I started farming when I was 19, how I bought a farm. So what I want you guys to do is please sit back, relax, crack a cold one, and enjoy what you see. How I started farming when I was 19, how I bought my first farm. And to start that, we need to kind of go back to where my grandfather started. He started in like the 50s, 60s, and then he was a prick. He adopted my dad. He was the type of guy that when my dad would fail or do something wrong, he would go to the extreme for discipline. Like, I'll just give you a quick story. So my dad was caught playing with matches. My grandfather didn't like that, so he thought the appropriate thing was to light a set of matches and put it by his feet and say, "Oh, what are you going to do, Peter?" And my dad stomped it out. He goes, "Oh, you're going to be a smart guy, are you?" So he took a can of gasoline and poured it around my dad and lit that on fire. And said, "What are you going to do now, Peter?" And that obviously made my dad curl in a ball and cry. That was the type of person my grandfather was to my father. My father farmed with him for a long time. It was struggles. Like, my grandfather built our farm up really good. I'd say until the 80s, and he just kind of stopped putting money into it. So in the late 90s, my dad finally convinced him to buy the 7710, the 6410, a combine, just kind of upgrade some equipment. At least my grandfather just liked to take a dividend and just take the money and not put it back into the farm. So eventually my dad got fed up with that. Anyways, I should get back to, he ended up buying them out is what went on. But so in 1999, my grandfather and dad finally put some more money into one of our barns, the number 2 barn. We put a new housing system in. It was not the housing system that my grandfather or my dad wanted to put in. My dad wanted to put in the farmer automatic, which is the same system that we have in our number 3 barn. My grandfather, he wanted to stay with the liquid manure and all this stuff, so they ended up putting that in. And this is at the point where my dad decided he needed to buy him out. And their relationship was dwindling. So in 2003, my dad finally bought my grandfather out. And at this point, they are not speaking anymore. So in 2003, when my dad bought my grandfather out, he went to the lawyer's office. And it's in London, and my grandfather wanted to use a hoity-toity lawyer, and it's way up in the skyscrapers, and Dad's in there, and you can clearly see my grandfather is parked down on Side Street. And Dad says, "Well, my dad says, is his dad gonna come up and sign the papers?" And the lawyer says, he doesn't really want to talk to you. And he goes, "The only stipulation your dad has about you buying this farm is you're going to take his name off the title." It was called Stuart Simpson Poultry at the time. He said, "You cannot use Stuart in that name because he's like, I'm a little, I don't really want to tell you this, but he goes, I have to." He goes, "Your dad told me to tell you when you run the farm into the ground, he doesn't want his name to anywhere on the title." So that was a pretty huge hit to my dad, and it still is to me at this point in time, because you live your life thinking well, how could you even think I was going to run into the ground? And now where I am today, I realize that he already almost ran into the ground. I mean, I'm still struggling today upgrading everything that he put us through, all this old equipment that he has left us with. I mean, I know all my videos, you've seen all this really nice, fancy equipment, but a lot of it is older, and I've either made it look like new, or I've upgraded it all. So I'll just keep carrying on with this story from here. But anyways, my dad's carrying on. So now from 2003, I started farming with my dad in 2008 after high school. Anyway, so from 2003 to 2008, my dad is now, we're retooling barns. We've retooled the chick barn. in '06. So that, anyway, I helped do that because my dad, in '06, I was just finishing high school, and my dad said, look, you and Owen have to really help figure out what kind of system you want to put in this barn, because it's going to be yours one day if you choose to farm. And he just wants, you know, I worked with all the old systems. I got dirty. I still have one of those old systems from 1999. We'll get into all that stuff. So anyways, it was a lot going on. I watched my dad struggle, you know, just trying to always upgrade. But my dad, he's an awesome father. He was the man, the myth, the legend. If you want to take a second to either pause this video, or if you just want to go on your cell phone and Google Copo Pete, that was my dad. Fantastic, fantastic man. Also, well, you know, this is not going to have equipment. I'm going to kind of explain our farm history a little bit to just my knowledge and my experiences. This is not my brother's experience or my mom's. This is mine. I will get into a little bit of that, but I want you guys to sit back, relax, grab a drink, and I'll kind of go into a few things. So anyway, so my dad was Copo Pete, and in '08, I just finished high school. No, sorry, '06 I finished high school. And, you know, I decided at that point I wanted to farm. So in '06 and into '08, I'm farming with my dad, and I can still remember the day that my dad looked at me, because he's just moving a 6-inch auger, and he goes, Eric, he goes, I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, I can't, I don't know what's going on with me. I have a serious health problem. I don't know. So he went and got checked out. So during this point in time, he's going to the hospital back and forth, and I'm farming with him, and my brother has now decided to come and farm with, sorry, I'm going to back that up just a little bit. So we are now coming into 2008. So this is where I'm now 19 years old. My aunt has decided she wants to sell one of her farms. It is joining one of our farms. My dad thought it'd be a great idea that, hey, you should buy it. That way you really get an experience of, you know, bank loans, and you really figure out who you are and how you want to farm. Make this your own, and you'll be able to live your life easier knowing that you went through some struggles, opposed to me just handing the farm over to you. So, all right, so my Aunt Mary didn't give me any deals, which is fine. I paid fair market value. I remember paying 6.8% interest back then, or it was something like that. It was quite heavy. The first year I remember making negative $7,000. I was using my own personal money to float the farm, because I didn't want to get a bank loan to get, I didn't want to get loans to pay for fertilizer costs or seed costs. The way my dad and I worked it out, that he was going to pay me so much wage to work on the farm, and he was going to let me use his equipment. I had to pay all my bills. If you either make it or sink it. That's what he told me. And so we're getting into year 2. Anyways, things are going a little better in year 2. I'm figuring life out. I got a little bit of an income coming in. It really wasn't easy. You're just. That place had a house too, so I'm also paying the bills. I decided to move out, and at this point, I have a girlfriend, and she's my best friend. She's my wife today. It's been a fantastic marriage so far, and it's going to keep going that way. She understands me. I understand her. She lets me work late at night. She's just a fantastic woman. Anyways, let's kind of get back into that. It was in 2010 I got married, and my brother's now farming with us. It's been quite the ride. So in 2011, one of my best friends, who also was farming at the time, he had 80 acres. Anyways, he was hit by a train. This was a huge struggle for myself, for my friends. Sorry, I miss them. That there was a lot to deal with, trying to go with his death and continue, living my life without him. He was a guy that I could. We're farming together. I mean, he was my age, and we're living the dream. We're doing what it's almost impossible to make happen, but we were making it happen. So it was a tough year watching him pass away. So that was a big struggle. So we're coming into 2012. Things are going really well. We're farm's doing good. We're doing some upgrades. My dad, he bought the 7630 tractor, which you see me planting corn with today. And I guess I should, but during the last few years, my dad's been going in and out of hospitals because he has a heart problem. Cardiomyopathy is what it was called. So anyways, he had a stent put in and a pacemaker put in. So it's been kind of a crazy time, but during this time, it's been going well. Having a great time farming with him side by side. Let me tell you, there was nothing easier than farming with him because the decisions were on him, not on me. So there was hardly any stress at all then. So during this time though, we get a call from a neighbor and they go, "Hey, we're gonna sell our 50 acres." And at this point, I'm like, "Oh, I could definitely buy that, get a little bigger." But we talked as a family, and it's like, "Oh, well, Owen, why you should buy it and see a little bit of the other side of life." So we're talking about my brother's gonna buy this farm. We're gonna talk about it, and then actually another farm ends up coming up for sale. We heard through the grapevine, and my dad and I and my brother went and approached her. And she's like, "Yeah, I'll sell my farm to you. You look like a young farmer. This looks good." I'm 23 years old, and it's looking like I'm going to buy another farm. But we're getting into harvest, and I got birds moving, all this stuff, and so the deals we're doing, they're letting us wait to kind of finish harvest so we can talk to the lawyers in the bank and all that kind of fun stuff. All of a sudden, November 3rd. Hits. We're deep into harvest and we're about to move chickens. I'm at just about to go to a buddy's stag and doe, and my wife's in the wedding party, and all of a sudden we get a call. And I should explain what that means is my dad is on the list for heart transplant because of all the problems he has. It's called cardiomyopathy. And so sitting at a buddy's place, getting ready to go stag and doe, 9:30 at night, get the call. "Hey, Dad, what's up?" "I got the call." I'm like, "What do you mean you got the call?" He's like, "I got the call." I'm like, "Oh my God, this is heavy." I'm like, "Okay, I really wasn't prepared for this situation, but I'm excited." I'm like, "Heart transplant, this is going to be fantastic. I mean, we can get back to the way things were. You can do the stuff you want to be doing." So I don't make it stag and doe. I rush. I go pick my wife up, tell her. We run to the hospital. I remember giving my dad a hug, saying, "I'll see you in a few hours. Love you. This is fantastic." Obviously, everybody's nervous. So, anyways, he goes in. There's nothing I can do there, and my mom says, "Why don't you and Owen go home so you guys can do chores in the morning, and I'll just keep you up to date." I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds fantastic." So, anyways, we go home. Mom gives us the call. She goes, "Well, your dad's out of surgery. Everything seemed to go well, but they couldn't get his chest to close." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, we'll be up and we'll see you." So, I remember going there, and he's got this patch on his chest, and you can literally see every time his heart pumps, it's squirting blood at this patch. Like, oh man, the doctor's like, "Don't worry, it's not a problem." Okay, sounds good. And all of a sudden it's like, well, Jesus, we got finished harvest, we got to wash barns, we got chickens coming in. So my brother and I are rushing back and forth in the hospital all the time like crazy. We have good help from the community. A bunch of my dad's friends came, helped run the combine. I had people come help run the pressure washer, but at that point we had one pressure washer, so it didn't even matter. Everybody just took turns squeegeeing. It was just a craziness. Anyways, things, we get the harvest done. We get chickens in. Things seem to be going not bad, except for my father. I mean, his heart is not, he's not closing up. His body's starting to reject it. We're getting into Christmas here, and we spend Christmas and New Year's at the hospital, and it's just quite the time of my life. I remember doing all that fun stuff. So we're getting on into 2013, and I was talking about I don't know if I said I bought the farms or not, but we were in talk about buying farms, and both those people were really nice. They knew what was going on in our lives, so they said, just why don't you just take some time, because we got to get bank loans, we got all this stuff we got to figure out. And I'm trying to run to the hospital, I'm trying to run the farm. They were good people, so they ended up waiting. So they allowed Owen and I to just take a few steps, take a few breaths. Exciting time, and also it was just a crazy time in my life. Anyways, after those deals passed, and we told Dad, and he was excited. Still in the hospital, but on January, hang on a second, I should know all this stuff off the top of my head, but it's just so much. January 23rd, we ended up talking with the doctors, and things were going south. I mean, his body was starting to reject the heart. It's just been complete, utter hell watching him. So, yeah, on the 23rd, it would have been it was the January 22nd to 23rd. I remember just sitting in the hospital and slowly watching him die. Just watching a little heart monitor just bloop, bloop, slow and steady downwards, not upwards. So that was a tough deal. I didn't sleep for 48 hours. I remember it was over. Anyways, my wife, or I guess I drove home. When I got home, all my dad's friends were they were there in the barn. That's where I went, but they were doing chores. Anyways, they were doing chores for us. Everybody was there, just helping out. So now, I mean, when I talked about the weight on my shoulders before, I'm serious now that I got a huge operation to run, and nobody's there to say what we can or cannot do. So saddle up. I mean, Owen and I decided that we're going to keep going forward. I mean, we love the work that we do. So we're going to keep farming. We're going to farm it the way he wanted, but I told you before that we were starting to do upgrades and just kind of make things a little bit nicer. We had the new farmer automatic barn put in 2008. I'm not too sure if I said that or not. So that barn is up to snuff. Our pull-up barn's up to snuff. But we still have that 1999 barn to deal with at this point, which is still it's a great running system. It produces high quality eggs. It's just there's certain things about it that I prefer if we would just go back to, or I want to go to dry manure, but we'll get into that. So yeah, it's me and Owen. We're figuring life out. So after my dad passed away, we have decided that with the new farms that we bought, we need to put up a new bin to handle all the corn. At this point we were using all 15-foot planters. So I have 6-row corn planter, using the 6410 as my big boy, or as my planting tractor, spraying tractor. The 7710 is actually the big boy. It was on the air seeder. It was on the drill, no-till drill, not the air seeder. It's on the air seeder today. So we're using some smaller equipment. We're trying to figure out, how do we farm? I mean, I know how we were farming, but we're trying to figure out how we want to farm today. So that's been that's always been a big thing for me. And I've always been trying. Every year we've tried something different. I still farm mainly the way that I was farming with my dad. It is the most cost-effective way.
Motion detected at your front door.
So anyways, we're gonna keep carrying on that we're using 15-foot equipment. I'm using a 9410 combine, 18 row grain head, still the same 6-row corn head I used today. That's what we've been using. So at this point, I am fed up with the corn planter. It's old, it's small. I'm putting in way too many hours, hooking up the corn planter in the daytime, to unhooking it at the nighttime, to hook to the sprayer so I can get up at 5 in the morning to go spraying, to do it all over again. It was just a lot. So we decided to buy a 12-row corn planter. That's what went on that year. This is in 13. And this is at the end of 13, going into 14. So at this point, we were still using an old Balin batch dryer. It was so slow, painfully slow, always breaking, pissing me off, pissing Owen off. It got to the point where my brother came in to my mom the next day because he had a tough night with it, and he goes, "That is the last time we're using that dryer. We are buying a new corn dryer." So we have now decided, all right, well, yeah, I mean, we got to budget all this stuff. I mean, you know, we're figuring it out. So we have now bought a new corn dryer, which is the corn dryer you've seen me use in the other videos. It's a Super B. I do love that dryer. It's fat. It works in our program. As for the efficiency, the speed, all that stuff, perfect dryer for us. I mean, it was, at the point, at that first year we used it, like I was literally just filling the wet bin and go to bed. And it may turn off at nighttime. It might not turn off at nighttime. And if it did, so what? I mean, it's just going so quick. We'll fill it in the morning and start it up. And it was just the amount of acres we were doing, I was able to do that. So that worked out pretty good. Anyways, so that was a good year. That, like, when we got to using that dryer, I mean, everything that we have done at this point now has made my life way easier and less stressful. I mean, everything that I've done, period. So yeah, just we can plan our acres that we need to in no time with doing chores. I should point out that at this point in time, when my dad first went in the hospital, the hired hand we have, Wes, he came on to give us a hand, and he's still helping us today. That was a huge help, especially then. You know, we're running back and forth in hospital, you know, just trying to get things done, making feed, roasting soybeans. I mean, if you've watched all my videos, you know what we've been doing over the year. And that was when we were quite a bit smaller, as for acreage and all that fun stuff. And now we're quite a bit bigger. So anyway, so we're now new corn dryer. Everything is flowing great for the grain side of the system. But it, you know, it's, we'll get into 2015. Still gonna go with 2014. Actually, I ended up purchasing one more farm and one more house. I mean, Simpson, the hen side of everything is not me. We have done a farm succession plan. So when my dad passed, everything went to her, and then we have a succession plan going forward. So what I own is my crops, my own land. So in 2014, not only did we put up buy a planter and all that stuff, one more piece of dirt came up for sale with a house, and I'm not too sure if I said I got married or not. I'm not. Anyways, I got married at one point during all this rigmarole to my girlfriend Sarah, which is now my wife, and after my dad passed away in 2013, my wife and I had PJ. I was married in 2010. That was one of the best days of my life. I should have actually said that, but I guess we'll just go back to that. But yeah, that was fantastic. So my dad ended up passing away 13. Had my son PJ in 13. God bless him. He's such a good boy. You've seen him in my videos. He's getting big. He's getting older. It's been awesome. Okay, so fast forward back to 2015. When my friend John passed, his farm went to his brother. In 2015, he came to me, and I've already just bought this house, and he goes, "Hey, I'm selling I'm selling my farm. It was his brother's. It was his farm." And I was like, "Oh man, I'm tapped out." I said, "But hang on, let me call Owen, because realistically, I want this farm. This is my buddy's farm. I need it. This is not a business decision. This is all about feelings at this point, which is not the way you should do business." But anyways, so I called my brother, and we did work the numbers, and it ended up working out. So my brother has now bought his second farm, which is a really nice piece of dirt. It needs some tile, needs some work, but it's a nice piece of dirt. So that was a big year. So going on into, also in 2015, I believe our combine burnt. So we ended up buying the S660 after that, and a 30-foot grain head. And holy moly, does that ever make a difference? That thing rock and rolls. It's fantastic compared to what we were using. I mean, we were using a little combine, making it a big combine with a buggy and putting in hours, especially in beans. But now with this new combine, well, it was used to us, but it was a 13. But that was a good purchase, and it made my life easier. So moving on to 2016, my wife got pregnant again, and we have my little boy Carter. So a little bundle of joy, that was both my boys. I love them so much, and they've been really good. They've been good to me. They're great little farmers. They do all kinds of cool stuff as little kids, riding dirt bikes, four-wheelers, doing things maybe kids shouldn't be doing, but I'm okay with that. So moving on into 2018. Now at this point we're still using a 15-foot drill, and we have got more acres. We've rented more acres through all these years too, not just buying them. So my brother, I get it. Let's get an air seeder. Let's make that happen. So we went to Full Line, and this is my brother and I's first brand new piece of equipment buying together without my dad. Actually, realistically, everything we bought before this was used, like not the dryer, but like actual equipment. So we ended up buying the air seeder, so that made life a lot better, a lot quicker for him. In 2019, 2020, we just kind of kept things afloat, trying to save up money. We realizing we had got bigger equipment, different stuff like that. We need to build a shop to get it all inside. So we have now built the shop that you see us working in. When I started my YouTube channel, we were building it. I didn't really want to use that in the YouTube channel. That really wasn't what bringing eggs to you is about, is the shop. So we finished that in 2020. So that's pretty nice. So here we are in 2021. It has been a ride. I've had a lot going on in my life. I'm just still trying to figure it out. Not saying it's the right way to do it, right way to farm. It's just the way I'm farming. It's working for me and my brother and I. So we have just moved our flock of birds out of the barn, and we've been washing for a week straight. The first 2 nights, I think my brother and I got like 5 hours of sleep in 48 hours. Just doing maintenance and all that stuff. We're realizing the barn I was talking about that my dad wanted to upgrade in '99. It's time that we talk about building a new one. So this is it's a lot of money to want to build a new barn. And when the birds went out the next morning, I went and I talked to my mom. Kind of gave her the same talk and one did. I do not want to. I'll put this flock in. but I'm just tired of the maintenance of it, and it is time to upgrade to something new. Especially talking about the industry and the way it's going, I'm not even too sure what system we're going to put in, how we're going to house the birds, anything like that. We haven't even talked to the bank, but this is a serious conversation that we need to build a new barn to put our birds in, to get rid of that one from 99. When the birds went out, you just got looking at it, and I fixed everything that needed to be fixed, and it's housing the birds just fine. But I just know that it's coming to the end of its life cycle, and I need to redo it. So that's kind of been my life so far. Like I said, so we'll go kind of the way I was able to buy a farm when I was 19 was definitely from the help of my dad, with letting me use the equipment, but I took the wage cut. But there was definitely a few years of struggles just on my end, not so much on this farm's end, but just trying to make my payments and all that fun stuff. You gotta do your budgets and figure it out, but yeah, without the help of my dad or the other farm, it'll be a tough one. But anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed me just chatting about my life, but this is, we have a lot more to this story as we go on in the future. The new flock is in. The videos that I will be posting after this video will be of about a week ago of us washing and getting the birds in. The birds that are in are doing phenomenal. They are laying already. It is great. Makes me happy. Both barns, number 2 and 3. So the one that was put in 99 and the one that was put in 08. Actually, fun fact, so last year we put it's a DeKalb and a Loman. I've just said this in the other videos. In DeKalb in barn 2, Loman in barn 3. DeKalb's came awesome out of the hole in the old barn, and the Lomans in the newer barn were about 2 weeks behind. So I can't tell you who's won yet because I don't actually get all the grades until next week. So I'll let everybody know which flock won, but I think the DeKalb did. Anyways, this time we flip-flopped the flock, so I put the DeKalb bird in the farm automatic barn and Loman into the other barn. And as of today, the DeKalb bird came out of the gate, next day gathering 62%, where the Loman bird only came out at 22. So, like I said, I'm always doing something. Doesn't matter if it's a grain side, egg side, pullet side. I need to know this from my own knowledge. That's how you have to be successful. You have to manage everything you have on your farm. And if you can't manage all that, then you better have a look and maybe slow down, because the only possible way to make money is to make sure you're doing the best job you can do on your farm. So anyways, hopefully you enjoy me chatting. I'm going to go now. Make sure you like and subscribe. Cheers.